Okay, now before we get into full-fledged robot making mode, we should probably prepare for that by creating some customized menus that we can use to kind of speed up our workflow. Because doing hard surface modeling, especially, I think, there are certain tools that you use repeatedly. You know, we do lots of masking, lots of extraction, lots of grouping, lots of edge loop work, and some deformations and so forth. And if you look over here into your panel, you know, some of those, the extract, for example, are under our subtool palette. We have merging and split too that we use a lot. Under your geometry palette, we have our edge loops and our clay polish tubes and our delete hidden and so forth. All those things we use. Deformations are way down here. Masking is right here. And polygroups are right here. So there's a lot of different menus that we're going to be using commands from. And if you have to keep going over here over and over again, it does tend to slow you down. And again, you know, anytime you can speed up the process, especially when you're concepting, it kind of, you know, it keeps the creative juices flowing a little more than having to stop every 5 seconds to come over here. So what the best thing to do, I think, is to create your own shortcut menu, your best, you know, a little pop-up menu that you can use and access the tools that you're going to be utilizing the majority of the time. So if you look at here, when I hit a Z key, this is my hotkey, you'll see I have this little menu with all the little tools that I use the most, just kind of, you know, thrown together so I can just access them much more easily. And what I thought we'd do before we get started is to create our own version of this. Okay. Now what I have is this is my sculpting menu basically. This is the stuff I use for hard surface modeling the most, and in conjunction with that, you also, of course, use different kinds of mask and clipping brushes, and I have another menu that allows me to switch between different mask tools and different clipping tools. And again, this is all a matter of making your workflow just, you know, a lot more convenient, a lot more quick. So I just want to show you real fast, you know, if you haven't done it before, how you can create your own menu and then assign it to a hotkey that you can access at any point, you know, during the sculpt. So I'm going to first go to our Preferences tab. Before we can create our own customized anything, let's go to our Preferences tab here and go under Custom UI. Under Config, and we have to first turn on Enable Customize so we can then start customizing things. Now, I think some of these commands have changed in recent versions of ZBrush, so it is different, I think, than a couple of versions ago. So the first thing I want to do is create my own menu, my own little UI here. So go under Preferences once again, Custom UI, and let's create a new menu. It's going to ask you for a name. I'll just call it Custom for now. Okay, and you'll see it. Here it is up here. Now I'm going to open this side so I can kind of just pop this guy over here. So I'm going to open up my custom and bring it over here. And of course there's nothing in there right now. So I have to start adding buttons and adding menus to this. Okay, now if I were to just go over here to say my subtool palette, and let's bring extract over there. Now if I were to do that, how do I bring it over there? Well, what you do to move something into your custom menu, you hold down Control and Alt, and then you just click and drag, and it'll pop right in there. Okay. Now the issue is, if you look at my subtool menu here, I don't just have these buttons. I have these little sub palettes: geometry, grouping, masking, deformations. And I think it's a good idea to keep that layout because it does help organize your stuff. So this is just floating in here, which is not as helpful as it could be. So let's add our sub menu first, and then we'll start making this a little more organized. Let's go back over to Preferences once again. Where we had this custom UI, we want a custom sub palette to be popped in there. So once again, Control Alt, click and drag this guy, and we'll just pop this right in here. And it's called Untitled, but we'll title it later. I want this to go in there. So Control Alt, click and drag, and just pop it right into that sub palette. Okay, let's go right back down here. Let's bring these guys in there too, the edge smoothness and the surface smoothness and so on. So Control Alt, click and drag, and you'll see they'll just kind of pop right in, and it's really easy. It's really convenient. And then we're good to go. Okay, split. These are things that I use a lot too. Split, group split, and merge. But I'm going to save those for a different sub palette. Those are more about groups for me. So I'm going to wait for the grouping palette. But under geometry, you know, edge loops, I use that a whole bunch. Right. So Control Alt, bring over edge loop, and just push it right underneath there, and it'll expand the menu. This came down like it shouldn't, so Control Alt and just push it back up, just like that. And then we'll just bring in some more buttons: crisp, display, and edge loop, mask border. These are all things that I use a whole bunch, especially in hard surface modeling. So I'm just going to bring these over. I'm not going to, you know, make you watch me create a whole menu, but let's say that's good enough. If I want to name this, just hit Control Alt, click on the title, and you can name it. I'll just name it Geo for now. And now we have our sub palette. If you want to add a new sub palette, just go right back up to preferences, and once again, just Control Alt and click a new custom sub palette, and you'll just keep going. Okay. Now, with regard to the creating a hotkey, one of the things I found after trying and failing several times to do it, it used to be in previous versions to create a hotkey, you simply held down Control and clicked on a command, and then you get that option to create a hotkey for it. Well, now it's Control and Alt, but at this point, I still can't do that. I can't make a hotkey for this sub menu yet until I go back up to preferences here and turn off Enable Customize. If I keep Enable Customize on and Control Alt click on this palette here, it wants me to kind of rename this palette, and it won't let me go. It just keeps it just won't let me go anywhere. So I cannot create a hotkey for it. It just won't let me do it. I can't even get out of this. I have to change the name, or it won't shut up. So I'm just going to call it Custo for now. To be able to actually make this something with a hotkey, you have to go back to preferences, like I said, and turn off Enable Customize. And then I can go Control Alt, click on this, and then create my hotkey. If I click on that, you'll see up here, right in this area here, it's going to tell me to press any key to create a hotkey. Okay, so that's, again, it's really important. I didn't realize that not having Enable Customize turned off would cause such a problem. Now, with regard to the other sub menu, my masking menu, I found anyway one of the best ways to do it, because I tried to click on these brushes before and it wouldn't let me create that menu. What I did simply was I just went into my scene here, hit down Control, and then chose a mask, like a mask lasso. And now to add that to my menu here, I simply went under Brush and found that one I just created, which in this case was mask lasso. And then I could Control Alt and just drag it over there. So you can add something to your brush palette and then slide it over into your customized palette. So like I said, I created two menus. One is for my masks. I've hit the A key. You'll see I have my different mask options here. I have a sub palette for clipping brushes. And I hit my other one is Z, which is my geometry tab. In case you're curious as to what the things we're going to be using a lot are, it's extract, edge loop, groups loops, edge loop, mask border. Delete hidden I use a lot, and it's just sometimes I always forget where it is, so I just wanted to put it there. Mirror and weld we might use. Clay polish, under my grouping tab here, auto groups, group visible, group masked, and group split. Group split, again, that came up from the sub tools palette, and I wanted to kind of keep it together with the rest of the stuff. So that's what's great about these. You can kind of put things together, which in a way that makes more logical sense to you. Masking, sharpen mask I tend to use once in a while. Shrink mask and grow mask I use often. And deformations, inflate I use all the time. Relax will be using a bunch. So you can add whatever else you might choose to add. I'll probably add one or two more deformations to this, maybe polish and maybe offset. But at least that way we have a nice customized workflow that allows us to kind of access the tools we want a lot more quickly. Okay. Now in the next video we're going to again prepare a little bit more for our robot by creating some custom brushes. When you're doing something mechanical like a robot or a machine of any kind, you're going to be using a lot of things like bolts and nuts and those kinds of things that could be kind of a pain to sculpt, but we can create customized brushes or customized stamps that will allow us to create those things really quickly, and then we can access them just as quickly as we can these menus. So in the next video, we're going to create some customized stamps, some customized brushes that will really give our robot some mechanical feel. So I'll see you then.